Hello, I'm Bry. I've recently become a certified Scrum Product Owner per the Scrum Alliance organization. I feel the time is ripe to share my thoughts based on the latest edition of the Scrum Guide published in 2020. It varies from the original version published in 2010, but I won't be discussing the differences. If you want me to discuss this or anything generally related, please let me know in the comments. As usual, if you find this content helpful, click like. Subscribe if you want to know what else I'll be sharing. Click the bell icon to be notified when I post new content. Let's get to it. The Scrum Guide. The definitive guide to Scrum, the rules of the game, was published in November 2020 by Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, two signatories of the Agile Manifesto, published in 2001 and available at agilemanifesto.org. Each Scrum team is comprised of 3 roles as outlined in the Scrum Guide: Product Owner, Scrum Master, and Developers. In this segment, I'll be discussing the Product Owner's role. According to the guide, the Product Owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team. How this is done may vary widely across organizations, Scrum teams, and individuals. Please forgive the American spelling conventions. It goes on to say, and I quote, "The Product Owner is also accountable for effective product backlog management, which includes developing and explicitly communicating the product goal, creating and clearly communicating product backlog items, ordering product backlog items, and ensuring that the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood." The Product Owner may do the above work or may delegate the responsibility to others. Regardless, the Product Owner remains accountable. For the sake of completeness, here's the remainder of the Product Owner section on pages 5 and 6 of the guide. For product owners to succeed, the entire organization must respect their decisions. These decisions are visible in the content and ordering of the product backlog and through the inspectable increment at the sprint review. The Product Owner is one person, not a committee. The Product Owner may represent the needs of many stakeholders in the product backlog. Those wanting to change the product backlog can do so by trying to convince the Product Owner. Let's unpack this. The Product Owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team. The Product Owner owns the vision for the product and understands what the customers and end users want and what provides value. I feel it's important to note here that customers might say they want any number of things. The question is, are they willing to pay for it? A business decision must be made here. A backlog is not a laundry list. We'll talk about backlogs in a few moments. Maximizing value is typically prioritizing features that will attract the most users. We may call this adoption. Adding a feature function no one uses yields no value. The Product Owner is the one to make this call. Do this before that. The Scrum team as a whole is responsible for delivering the promised value. The Product Owner creates or delegates the creation of the product backlog. This is an inventory of potentially valuable features and functions of the product. The role of the Product Owner in this regard is to, as noted in the bulleted list, 1. Develop and communicate the product goal. What does this product do? What is it for? How will it produce value? How will we measure this value? 2. Create and communicate product backlog items. There are many ways to capture PBIs. A popular way is through user and system stories. We won't go into details on this here. 3. Order PBIs. Once captured, the Product Owner needs to order these by relative priority. The priority may be based on immediate customer value or because the item is an enabler to unlock future value. 4. Ensure the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood. This means that all team members have access to the product backlog. Ideally, all stakeholders do as well. To recapitulate, the Product Owner is accountable for these tasks, but they can be delegated to others, who in turn become responsible. Oftentimes, a business analyst writes or refines the user stories, which are reviewed and approved by the Product Owner. For product owners to succeed, the entire organization must respect their decisions. This means product owners need the autonomy to operate. If they yield some expected value within some tolerance range, they are doing their job. They should be remediated or replaced if they consistently fail to deliver value. I can't emphasize this point enough. The Product Owner is one person, not a committee. Full stop. This one-person rule allows for a single point of contact with no conflicting orders and agendas. It is also important to note that the role is Product Owner, not Product Renter or Product Representative. The person in this role is uniquely responsible for the outcome of this product. The Product Owner should already understand corporate goals and strategies and how leadership thinks about the future. No one should be able to veto a product decision made by the product owner, and the product owner should not have to ask a superior if feature A or feature B should be implemented. That's their job. What else does a product owner do? After this, we'll discuss what a product owner doesn't do. Scrum delivers value or potential value in sprints. Time-boxed iterations. Value cannot be realized unless some feature functionality has been released. That Ferrari sitting in your garage won't yield you any value unless you sell it. Until then, it's just potential value. Scrum has several events, the details of which are beyond the scope of this segment. The product owner has duties within some of these events. 1. The sprint itself. The product owner works with the rest of the team to determine the duration of a sprint. If the goal of the product changes, only the product owner may cancel the sprint or work in process. 2. Sprint planning. The product owner determines the expected value of each product backlog item. A scope for a given sprint is agreed upon through discussion with the developers. Out of this, the developers create a sprint backlog to outline a commitment of what should be delivered in that sprint. 3. Daily Scrum. Product owners may attend these stand-up meetings at their discretion, but they are inactive observers, not participants. In agile parlance, they are chickens, not pigs. 4. Sprint review. The product owner organizes and facilitates the review of the effort accomplished in a sprint with the developers and the stakeholders. 5. Sprint retrospective. As a team member, the product owner confers with the rest of the team what went right in the sprint and what might be improved. Action items are captured, and at least one should be applied to the next sprint. Now we know what a product owner does. What does a product owner not do? 1. Although product owners provide inputs to the sprint backlog as negotiated during sprint planning, they do not have any say over how the work is executed. They might communicate during sprint planning that task X must be completed before the end of the sprint, but they can't otherwise order X to be finished before Y. This is a decision made by the developers with the commitment that all sprint backlog items will be completed by the end of the sprint. 2. Product owners should not bully the developers into committing to more work than they can reasonably accomplish, nor should they pressure the developers to work at an unsustainable pace. In practice, no one should do this. 3. Don't tell the developers how long something should take. They are doing the work. If you disagree, discuss this during sprint planning or backlog refinement. Remember, a Scrum team has no hierarchy. A product owner is not in charge of the team, not above the other members. All are equal. Given staffing realities, this may seem difficult in some organizations, but keep your ego in check. Perhaps you are more advanced in the organizational food chain. Maybe you even get a bigger check. On the team, you are all co-equals. As a product owner, you are accountable for the value realization. If a team doesn't deliver to your expectations, discuss this in a retrospective. Perhaps they need to progress on a learning curve. Maybe they are storming, but haven't yet hit forming and norming. Perhaps a different team composition might help. Maybe you need a second team, or a third. In the end, product owners are in a position between a rock and a hard place. Dare I say between Scylla and Charybdis. Nah, that would be pretentious. In any case, they have fixed deadlines and feature commitments. These commitments are inherently antithetical to Agile. This has been Bry. I hope you found this content to be useful. If so, press like. Subscribe to see more and press the bell icon to receive notifications when I post new content. What do you think? Does your experience being a product owner comport well with the Scrum Guide? Has your role morphed over time, especially between the 2010 and 2020 editions of the Scrum Guide? As another team member, does your experience with product owners match the expectations established by the Scrum Guide, or has it been something else? Have you worked with different product owners who have different approaches? Which did you prefer? Finally, does the Scrum Guide have it right? If not, where are they off the mark and what could be done to improve it? This is the end of this segment. Thank you for reaching this far. Take care and cheers.